What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Bluebuzz Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So I just read an article that Eddie Hearn just did another article, another interview. I believe it was with Sky Sports, but you could check out the article. You could check it out on boxingscene.com. He says that he says a number of things. He says that he wants to know if Deontay Wilder wants to fight by the end of this week. Today is already Thursday, so he's saying by tomorrow, I gather, or maybe even Sunday, but he wants to know by the end of this week if Deontay Wilder wants to fight. I find that real ironic that he's saying that if Deontay Wilder wants to fight. Deontay Wilder has been, his stance that he wanted this fight, he stated the obvious that he wanted this fight numerous of times over, so I really can't understand how he's saying that if he wants to know if Deontay Wilder wants this fight. Basically, he wants to know if Deontay Wilder is going to take the lowball offer that they're going to give him instead of the 60-40 split that he wants. And then he says he contradicts himself as usual. He says that if Deontay Wilder was to win this fight, first he says this is a clear A side, which is Anthony Joshua, and so they got the right to call the shots because they're the clear A side. He says if Deontay Wilder wins this fight, that makes him the clear A side. Okay, if that's the case, then why is there a snag? Why is there anchor that Anthony Joshua wants 50-50 split should he lose this fight and have to come to the U.S. for a rematch with Deontay Wilder? That's not A side, that's not B side mentality. Because if you're saying that Deontay Wilder is the clear B side in the first fight, is what Eddie Hearn stated, then that makes. And he said if Deontay Wilder was to win this fight, then that makes him the clear A side. So that would make Anthony Joshua the clear B side, right? So then that means Anthony Joshua will have to take the split that Deontay Wilder offers him, and he will have to stage the fight where Deontay Wilder wants the fight stage, right? That would make him the clear B side. So I'm not understanding why is there a holdup with the rematch because Anthony Joshua wants a 50-50 split should there be a rematch. That's not B-side mentality. That's number one. Number two, another thing he says is he says that Deontay Wilder and his team made a hell of an offer, no doubt about it. He said, but $50 million is not enough money to change Anthony Joshua's life and his family life. If people don't see the hypocrisy, if people don't see the fault and what Eddie Hearn is saying and Team Joshua, because they're clearly pulling the wool over Anthony Joshua's eyes. So for Eddie Hearn to say $50 million is not enough to change Joshua and his family's life, really? This clearly lets us know that what they telling Anthony Joshua is not smart enough to understand that $50 million could change him and his family's life forever. What are you talking about? How could $50 million not be enough to change that man's life? And this is what I say about Anthony Joshua having a weak mentality. There's no way. What Eddie Hearn eats doesn't make Anthony Joshua shit. That's the bottom line. What Eddie Hearn eats doesn't make Anthony Joshua shit. So that means what Anthony Joshua should be doing what's best for him and his family. For Eddie Hearn to tell him that $50 million is not enough to change him and his family's life is fucking ludicrous. And if you're a fan of Anthony Joshua and you feel like and you go by that nonsense and you think that that's okay, that's really ridiculous at this point in time, man. $50 million could change you and your family life forever. So for him to say that's not enough money to change Anthony Joshua's life, that's why they didn't accept the offer. $50 million is not enough to change you and your family's life forever. For them to be telling him that is fucking ludicrous, and for Anthony Joshua to accept that is even more stupid. For Anthony, this shows the lack of mental strength and fortitude Anthony Joshua has. This clearly lets you know that when things get rough in the ring between him and Deontay Wilder, he's gonna fold like a cheap suit. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. So for all you people out there saying, oh, y'all automatically saying that Deontay Wilder's going, there's little things, there's little hints, there's little gestures, there's body language, there's things, there's mentalities that let you know, that give you an indication who should win the fight. Now this is the sport of boxing, so anything can happen. But for them to say and repeat that $50 million is not enough to change his life, so that's why we didn't accept the offer, is the most absurd and outrageous thing I've ever heard. And for Anthony Joshua to go along with that notion and go along with Eddie Hearn and listen to Eddie Hearn and listen to Barry Hearn and whoever else may be in his ear to tell him that's not enough money to change his life is ridiculous. And if you don't believe me, go check out the article on BoxingScene.com. This is from Eddie Hearn's mouth. Then he says another contradiction. See, this is why I tell all you people. So people get on here talking about, oh, why you bashing Eddie Hearn? Why you bashing Anthony Joshua? You're not listening to what they're saying. No, you're not listening to what they're saying. And you refuse to open your eyes and listen to the contradictions that they keep putting out there. Okay? Another thing Eddie Hearn just came out and said was, I reported on this, that Anthony Joshua said he didn't want to fight in front of a watered down crowd in the U.S. He asked his team how many Brits can he get to come to the U.S. should he stage a fight in the U.S. And they reported that 6,000 at max. Max. That's what they reported. Now, Eddie Hearn, now that's what he reported. That's what he said. That was a couple of days ago. That's what Team Hearn and Team Joshua, Joshua's team, and Eddie Hearn and McCracken, Joshua's manager / trainer, right? He said that the max, they told Anthony Joshua the max amount of Brits they could get to the States is 6,000. That's what they told him. Now, today, in Eddie Hearn's interview today, go read it for yourself. He says, Anthony Joshua, this is to let you know Anthony Joshua is not a very smart dude, man. He's not a very smart dude, man. It's sad. But they told Anthony Joshua asked him how many Brits, again, he asked him how many Brits could he get to come to the States, and they told him, this is what Eddie Hearn says, 6, maybe 7, maybe 8, maybe 9, maybe 10,000. Which one is it? How many Brits? He asked a straightforward question. How many Brits can I get to come to the States? Should I go over to the States and fight Deontay Wilder? So how could you tell him it's 6,000 at best? And then today, Eddie Hearn is saying 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, maybe 10. He don't understand that they trying to trick him. He don't understand that they trying to fool him into thinking that they trying to fool him and they trying to trick him and using reverse psychology to get him to stay in and stage the fight in UK, not to come to the States. He doesn't understand that. Anthony Joshua doesn't understand that. He doesn't grasp that notion. He doesn't see what they're trying to do. Because it seems like Anthony Joshua is torn. Should he come to the States or should he not? And it's clear who don't want him to come to the States is Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. I mean, it's Eddie Hearn and Barry Hearn. And McCracken. McCracken is his manager / trainer, told him at max they can only get 6,000 Brits over here. Now Eddie Hearn is saying he could get 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, or 10,000. Which one is it? How many can you get? How many can you get? It's a clear. Listen, if you're my manager and you're my promoter, and I say, listen, if I go over there, how many Brits can I get? I want a clear number. Give me a number. Give me a definite number. I don't want don't give me a roundabout number. I want, you are the promoter. You contact these venues. You should be able to find out. You know about the tickets. You should be able to tell me a definite number. You should be able to, it should be a fact. We could get you about 7,500 Brits in the building. It should be, why is it, how does this person say 6,000 and this dude saying 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10? Which one is it, man? Anthony Joshua, you need to smarten up, man. Follow protocol and let your nuts swing. Be a man, man. Be a man, man. This is sickening, man. I don't even know how Deontay Wilder is negotiating with this dude, man. This got to be frustrating for Deontay Wilder. It has to be, man. It has to be. The dude is asking for a 60-40 split. As long as Joshua take in return, and he'll come to the UK. So I'll repeat this again. I'm getting tired of repeating this. Deontay Wilder just wants a 60-40 split, and he'll come to the UK and have the fight. As long as in return, Anthony Joshua takes a 60-40 split in return and comes to the States should Deontay Wilder win. That's it. It's not hard to understand. Eddie Hearn also says that there was a lot of stuff in the negotiations that he just couldn't side with. He just couldn't get with. You know, it just wasn't acceptable. That's what Eddie Hearn said. It was a lot of things in there that wasn't acceptable, but there were a lot of things that was acceptable. I wish I could explain it to you guys. Why can't you explain it to us, Eddie? Why can't you explain it to us? It don't even seem like you explained it to Anthony Joshua. And it don't seem like Anthony Joshua is smart enough to understand what's taking place. Anthony Joshua don't understand that he's being fucked with no Vaseline. That's the bottom line, man. Anthony Joshua don't understand what's going on, what's taking place, right? He needs to smarten up as a grown man. He's a grown man, man. You need to smarten up. If you don't understand business, then he need to hire somebody that got his best interest at heart and figure it out, and somebody that can help him with the business part of it, because he's just not smart, man. He letting these dudes tell him that $50 million is not enough to change him and his family's life. So they won't be raped by taking a $50 million offer. But in the same token, Eddie Hearn is saying $50 million was a lot of money. It was a hell of an offer. Well, if $50 million is a hell of an offer, then why is it not enough to change Anthony Joshua and his family's life? Eddie, would you turn down $50 million? I would like to ask Eddie Hearn that. Will he turn down $50 million? Pretending that $50 million, Anthony Joshua accepting the $50 million offer and the 50-50 split is him being raped. That's how Eddie Hearn made it seem. That's not good enough for him to sell his soul. $50 million. So he gonna take $20 million less just to fight at home? When the fans, yeah, it's good to have home field advantage in any sport, boxing, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But at the end of the day, anybody that played any sports, I played football at a high level. I know a lot of football players personally that's in the NFL. My son plays football right now, and is probably going to play for UCF, University of Central Florida, right? I know a lot of athletes, serious athletes, that play on a high level. NFL, arena football, anything. It's great to have home field advantage. But at the end of the day, if you play any sport, you know once the first bell ring in boxing, once the first kickoff in football, once the tip off in basketball, it's another game. Just like the Super Bowl. Once the Super Bowl is the hugest sporting event in the United States, right? But once you kick it off, and the lights flash and all the cameras flash and everything, guess what? It's another sport. That's just what it is. It's a regular game. It's another football game that you played thousands of times over. That's all it is. It's another game. So for Anthony Joshua to not accept a $50 million offer and say that $50 million can't change his life and his family life, and to sell his soul, so he must have this fight staged in the UK, and he's willing to take $20 million less or even more less to have the fight in the UK in front of his fans is ludicrous. And if you're a fan of Anthony Joshua and you say you root for that man, you should not only root for that man inside the ring, but you should be rooting for that man outside the ring. As Deontay Wilder fans and supporters of Deontay Wilder, and I don't dislike Anthony Joshua. I like Anthony Joshua. Right? I just like what Deontay Wilder stands for and how he is outside of the ring. Not saying I don't like how Anthony Joshua is outside the ring. I just like the fact that Deontay Wilder is outspoken. He stand up for his people. Just a hell of a man. You know what I'm saying? So outside the ring, as a fan of Deontay Wilder, would I ever advise him, or as a fan be like, oh, you shouldn't take that $50 million. You should fight right here in the States. That's like Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn offering Deontay Wilder $50 million to fight in the UK, and I'm a fan of his, and I'd be like, oh, listen, Wilder, you should fight and you shouldn't fight over there in the UK. You should fight in the States. Don't take that $50 million. Take $20 million less and fight over here in the States. You crazy? Wilder, you better go get that bag. $50 million? $50 million, go get that bag, man. But that's all I got, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Eddie Hearn contradicting himself once again. Anthony Joshua refusing to follow protocol and let his nuts drag and be a man. He letting Eddie Hearn and and Barry Hearn tell him $50 million can't change him and his family life. Unbelievable, man. But that's all I got, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, get all new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. You already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. That's all I got for y'all, man. Peace.